So welcome to the Lighthouse for today's resiliency session. And for today's work, I'd like to focus on what it means to be actively participating in our own renaissance. I think this is a good muse point to have the spotlight on right now, with the way the world is and the way our lives are rolling, characterized by so many unknowns. To have a very robust relationship with our internal renaissance. And if you ask me, as far as I'm concerned, it all begins at the level of energy. Life force is the key to every ingredient in one's live-thrive equation. So if you think about it, when you wake up in the morning, every morning, you have X amount of life force to work with. Even though, of course, there is, an infinitude that we can tune into and tap into and awaken and harness and channelize within our organism and within our way of being in the world. But generally speaking, when you wake up in the morning, you have X amount of energy, and then that energy is going to what it is that you're focusing upon, what your priorities are, how it is that you want to, mobilize, how it is that you want to mobilize those focuses and priorities. And for a lot of us, and I sit here and I say these things like I'm not subject to the journey, but let me tell you, it's all coming from the grist of my own mill and from my own experience. And, for a lot of us, myself included, I have plenty of practice with this. We can be very easily in energetic debt by the time we're done with the first cup of coffee in the morning. Because why? We're nurturing a bunch of grudges. We have a huge windmill of worries that are hijacking and eroding our energy. So the key is to have the key is to do your profit and loss sheets in terms of your life force, to know where you're bringing in energy and where you're leaking energy and where you're leaking too much energy and where it is that your energy is going that it has no business going. To get, as I say, to get really sober and lucid about that. At the level of honesty, we've been holding a big heart-mind space around honesty as being one of the defining characteristics of a person who is successful, and we're using the broad definition of the word successful. So I want to give you some methodologies, meditative methodologies that are going to be very inclusive of your breath and your drishti and the movement of the body. It is absolutely impossible to solve some of these deep ontological issues that we are facing right now, and that frankly that we've always been facing in our quest to understanding what it means to be a human being. We can't solve these deep ontological issues simply by thinking about them. We have to have all cells on deck. We have to use our whole body, the entire organism, which includes your molecular body and which includes your energy body and your auric body. So these particular techniques are going to help you in that way. So for myself, my entire life has been, could be defined by a creative habit. I've pursued the arts, I've pursued dancing, I've pursued all manner of meditative moving modalities. I've pursued herbalism, music, in all of these subcategories, I think could fall into this larger category of the creative habit. And the way I like to think about it, and I just like to bounce my process sometimes at you, It's like, you know, as a practitioner, as a space holder for the creative habit, it's like entering a white room, you know, or sitting down in front of an empty white canvas or piece of paper, and that can be very off-putting. It can be even anxiety-provoking or frightening, you know, like an empty room, a white canvas. You know, it's all about having the conviction to start anywhere and to know your creative Rolodex and to spin it and then apply the different elements from your creative Rolodex. Let your practice be a kind of permission slip to pitch for your life in a powerful way, to stay off the peripheral edges and to pitch with power and to be in the center of the fire. And the last thing that I want to say in terms of setting our stage for today is you're allowed to change. You're allowed to change your mind, you know, and in terms of neuroscience and ESI and the like, we put a lot of focus on that in our professional work in this particular learning community. You're allowed to change. It's encouraged that you honor all the inherited concepts that have helped you to get to where you are and to be who you are. It's important that you honor those inherited concepts. But it's just as important to honor and to enter the white room of the emergent concepts that want to come through, that have to come through, to hold space for the emergent concepts and the new elaborations that are coming through you as an individual and that are coming through us as a collective. To walk into the center of that white room and bust a move. So without further ado, I'm going to change the music up quite a bit here. Let me just find what I'm looking for, and we're going to go right into it. So this is some stunningly amazing percussive music that we're going to practice to for the next many moments. Beautiful work by White Sun. And it is the perfect hypnotic, rhythmic, percussive cadence that is going to help you create new structures and to develop the vibrancy in your chi that is going to help you compassionately take down any of the limiting structures that are holding on to the nail and trying to, you know, stay set up inside of yourself when it's time to move on from them. So I do need to move the dog. This is an awesome, we're going to start gentle and then move more into some intense dimensions towards the end here. So this is a meditation. I hope that you can see what I'm doing. I've curled my left leg back. So I have the top of my left knee and the front of the shin and the top of the foot grounded into the floor. And I have the right foot flat and the right knee bent. And this is the stance. I happen to be seated on a block that is helping me to do this in a sustainable way. So maybe you've got a block in your environment. You can also use a rolled up blanket or a pillow. Pillows tend to be a little bit too squishy. I love the block because it's really solid and supportive, and it's not going to shape shift underneath your anatomy as you do the meditation. So this is about resetting our magnetic field. So we're going to do this for a few minutes with our legs like so, and then we're gonna flip it over. Your hands are going to be like this, and they're going to be right alongside the ears, but about 3 to 5 inches away from the ears. And you're going to keep all 10 fingertips pointing north. Your elbows elbows will be hovering on the same plane as your shoulders, and you're going to pressurize through the arms while opening up the gate of the chest. And then, of course, we're going to work with a real powerful practice in the breathing body. We're going to work with a breath of fire. The gaze is going to be set at the tip of the nose. Be sure the chin is drawn in towards the pit of the throat, so you've got the Jalandhara bond going on, and really finesse the ascent of your life force energy. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Okay, I'm going to just turn up our music and we'll do it together for a few moments, and then I'll cue us when to change. Purifying and detoxifying, and it's going to escalate your life energy. This is what I'm talking about when I say getting a grip on, the profit and loss and the energetic level. You are bringing in so much energy into your organism when you do this. So much good, clean energy. So check your settings. At what level are you participating, and how can you level it up even more so? Of the right knee, the top of the right shin, and the top of the right foot flat to the floor. Bend the left knee and bring the left foot flat. Okay? So you're resetting your magnetic energy field. It's this huge orbital thing around you. And the center of the wheel of your body, the center of this wheel, is where you want to reside, in the intersectionality where the power and the light and the fire of chi is. So let's do this thing. Keep it going. Spread the energy in the fingers and in all 10 toes. Pressurize as a way of creating more vibrant energy. Effortlessness also in it. Conscious effortlessness. I teach oftentimes around this concept of mono practice, and because so many of us are so busy in this community, in the world at large as a whole, but particularly in this community. So sometimes if you're like, whew, I am eroding and I'm depleting, I'm withering at the post, and I have 5 minutes. So obviously you can't do like, a whole vinyasa yoga practice, that's off the roster, but you could do a mono practice. And this is a good one. This is a good one to cast your votes for because it moves so much chi in a really life-affirming way. It ensouls the breath. It ensouls the breath. So it's aligning you, it's aligning your anatomy, it's aligning your molecular body with the part of your being and body that is eternal. So we're going to stay in this reset, rebuild realm for another couple of moments. So again, you're going to be hovering your elbows on the same plane as your shoulders, and you're going to have some electromagnetic space between the hands, and you're going to spread all 10 fingers, and you're also going to be spreading all 10 toes. I'm just showing you 5 of them at the moment, but spread. So even when you're in a seated position, I'm pushing energy out from the nucleus of my hip joint through the open space of the inner knee, out of the long bones of the femur and the lower legs, and I'm pushing the energy out from the center of the ball of my foot. And in doing so, this keeps an interconnectivity in the structure of the lower body, so it doesn't get fatigued, it doesn't get crystallized. I'm pushing energy through. It's chi pushing. It's the same thing that we do in the qigong practice, but now you're doing it. It's the internal force of chi pushing, and you're doing it while in a seated form. So we're gonna spend a few breaths here, and then we're gonna just obviously flip it because we like to nurture both sides. And as you're embodying this meditation, I really allure you to tune into the essence that includes everything that is yin, internal, nourishing, fertile, and lunar, all of these yin aspects, and also including all of the essences that are yang, which are active and expressive and solarized and external and outpouring. Again, that is a way, it's a cosmology for understanding the energetic spreadsheets, for understanding where we're bringing energy in to the yin and where we're sending the energy out into the yang. This is very important. However, as we hold a big space for the emergent concepts and the new elaborations that I was talking about a minute ago, we want to simultaneously hold space for the yin and the yang, but also holding space simultaneously for the way that, for the energy that is transcending their limitations. The energy that's transcending the limitation of yin and transcending the limitation of yang. There is something coming through right now that is a massive evolution. It is a transcendental, transformational power that's coming through us. And so when we align with these power practices and we activate them inside of us, we're changing. Remember, you are allowed to change. So you're going to breathe a little bit differently. You're going to create the O shape with the mouth. We do this all the time. Bringing energy into the yin, and then exhaling out of the nose, giving it back to the yang, and then melting into all the transcendental space that is integrating all of the ambiguities and the unknowns and the unfoldments, okay? So I'm going to turn this back up. Let the drumming really get inside, deep inside. So let's, for the sake of staying together, let's have the left hand on top. Inhaling through the mouth and then exhaling out of the nose. As you exhale, pull your abdominal wall back and up. Let the abdominal movement actually originate at the perineum and the pelvic floor. Inhale through the O shape of the mouth. Relax the shoulders, conscious effortlessness. Re-invoking every connection that has gotten eroded in this time. Re-invoking connection. Exhaling through the nose. And finesse the ascent by moving the cave of the belly up towards the crown of the head and up towards the infinite. Inhale through the O shape of the mouth. Rebuilding the nervous system, rebuilding the magnetism in and around your body. Exhaling. Inhaling through the O shape. Exhaling. Switch the hands, same thing, stay right in the flow. Let it reaffirm your instincts, intuitional wisdom. The end of the out breath, squeeze at the pelvic floor, at the perineum, lift the root to the belly, to the heart, to the head, to the infinite. Inhale through the O-shaped mouth. Still looking at the tip of the nose. Hold on to it. Let it nourish you. Let it nurture you. Exhale. Inhale. Ensouling the breath. Breathing in the infinite, into your finite form. Breathe in the infinite. Exhale out of the nose. One more. Let the paradox find a home in the terrain of your body, holding space for the yin and for the yang, and for the transcendental emergent energy that is neither one and at once, both simultaneously, but something else as well. Go ahead and bring your hands down to the top of the knees. So for today, in this particular gathering, these are short form practices. So if you find that one of these practices or all of them, because they're all really powerful, if one or all of them are speaking to you, don't think that you can only just do it for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Try doing it at length. Try doing one of these forms for 30 minutes. Unrecognizable clarity will be your empowerment. And clarity as an empowerment is something very, very different and far more useful and applicable than an adult armor. We need to have that permeability, and we need to have clarity and flexibility within our clarity. I want to do one more practice. We have time. I want to do one more practice today. So you're going to pull down your ring fingers with your thumbs. This is such an energizing, electrifying practice. And you're going to spike your index fingers and your middle fingers up. Your pinky fingers are going to be pulled down vicariously with the tug of the thumb at the rings, like so. And the pinkies are curled in towards the center of the palm. Keep your hands in this position. Now you're going to circle your hands from the tip of the fingers to the tip of the elbows, inward and then outward, inward and outward, inward and outward. And we're going to work with a really quirky way of breathing that sometimes makes people, when we're in a group setting, people are like, oh, I feel a bit uncomfortable doing this. This is a little like out of my comfort zone. I feel a little crazy. But remember, the coordinates of you are also a place where the wild things are. So go ahead and let this baboon energy really move through you. You're going to attach a sound. Sound is one of the most effective ways of reconfiguring harmony and the resonance of your body. Sound is. So you're going to attach a sound. It doesn't have to be any particular sound, but we'll omit screaming from the lexicon. Attach any sound to both the inhale and the exhale, and I'm going to give you a demonstration here, but I'm going to turn up the band. Okay, so this is what it's going to sound like and look like. It's a little quirky, but oh my god, it's so good. This is such a good meditation. So I still have an O shape, and I'm on the exhale, this big opportunity to let go of everything that has been ailing you. Letting go of everything that is ailing you so that you can live in maximum fullness now. Okay, so pull the rings down, tuck the pinkies in, ignite through the index and the middle fingers. Again, we're circling in and out rapidly, small circles as a continuum. Join me. Shaking every cell in your living body, moving in the direction of maximum fullness through the language of gesture. All cells on deck. Just feel this living furnace of life energy in your core. Take this moment to tune in around the power of gratefulness. And remember that you have everything you need through the power of your practice to live to maximum fullness. And you don't need some calamity, some gain, or some loss necessarily to catalyze a shift into that maximum fullness. Your practice can take you into the heart of it absolutely every day. And you can open in your cellular memory and in the lavish terrain of your imaginings, you can open the memory of this maximum fullness that is catalyzed and seated in the moments of practice, and also catalyzed and seated in the miraculous moments of beauty and bliss and expansion, and also in those challenging moments of loss and grief and illness and injury and so forth. We can experience the maximum fullness in the events of practice and bliss and grief, but we can also experience the maximum fullness before the event and then after the event. It's all here now. So I hope you feel really alive and really connected, ensouled, having invoked the whole web of chi, and feeling how poised you are